Greetings, petrolheads. Welcome back to Automation, the car company tycoon game. Now, today we have, I want to show you two new facelifts on Athena. First is the SL2. We are now using a different body here, because I think this only got available in 1969. The front is sort of alpha-ish, I think, especially if you look at it from this angle. Very square, of course, that's just the nature of this body. Rectangular headlights, some fog lights, indicators right under the headlights. Some chrome stripes with a vent in between them. And big rectangular chrome surrounded black vents down here and down here that are leading up to the fog lights, and the number plate in the middle. And on the rear we have some classic, rectangular red taillights with the Athena naming on top of the blacked out grille. We have the SL2 right in here. We have two exhaust pipes, and overall I think this is just a pretty simplistic design, but also one, this car is aimed for the European market, not the American market. So it doesn't need like huge air intakes. It won't have a huge engine either, and I think it has more of the sort of design language that the Europeans used back then, not necessarily the sort of American design. What is it made of? It's made of galvanized steel on the ladder chassis, and we have steel panels, the wishbones front, leaf springs rear. So nothing out of the ordinary. It is rear-wheel drive, of course, and it has one iteration of the new Rhodos V8. That is the flat plane V8. It is its maximum capacity is 4.5 liters. This one is running a 4-liter setup and making 250 horsepower. So that's quite a significant step over the previous generation, the Rhodos Mark I, which made like 190 horsepower out of 3.8 liters. So we are certainly making more horsepower per liter here. Also making some really good reliability. Again, using the single overhead cam 3 valve per cylinder setup, which we're going to apply to all engines in the near future, and probably for a few decades even. And also using mechanical injection, because again it is cheaper than DCOE with quad carburetors, while delivering the same sort of power and better efficiency. So also the rev limit on this one is 6,000 RPM, so that's quite neat for this point in time. 3-speed auto with an open differential. This car doesn't need to be super quick. Has 185 rear tires, medium compound road. Wheel spin is surprisingly not that high. That is mainly down to the long... Actually, the gearing isn't long at all, but it is down to the automatic gearbox. If we went for a manual, we would have more wheel spin, especially with more gears, which would of course mean shorter gearing. But yeah, next up we have the brakes, solid discs front and rear with 2 pistons each. Do we want to go this way? Actually, yeah, that seems like a much better solution. Doesn't really add to the brake fade. Stopping distance is still pretty much the same, and drivability will go up quite significantly. We lose a little bit of comfort, but not much. And cooling is just enough. Top speed is over 200 kilometers an hour, which is nice. Then we got our usual handmade interior, phonograph, entertainment, advanced safety, hydro pneumatic springs, as I've been told it is pronounced, and yeah, comfortable setup with let's see, yep, maximum possible drivability. So 20 liters per 100 kilometers is actually a little bit much, even for a car like this. It is using quite a lot of fuel. So maybe that is one of its weak points, even compared to other big cars of this time. Yeah. Well, even if it is, so be it. And then there is also, oh wait, first of all, the price, $28,629 in today's money. That's, you can probably do the maths on that yourself. It's roughly $3,500 maybe dollars back then, somewhere between $3,500 and $4,000. And then there is also a V12 version of this, which is obviously aimed towards the higher end of the market. It has a 5.5 liter V12 now, which in its base trim with, you know, as you can see, a very flat torque curve, lots of bottom end, not very aggressive on cam profile at all, it makes 300 horsepower. And this is certainly gonna help this thing with acceleration. Still an automatic 3-speed, 185 still. Now making lots of wheel spin, of course. Can't fit wider tires though. And if we go on to here, actually, why don't I just do that? That'll give us better acceleration, lower wheel spin, more drivability. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's better then. So very tall first gear then, it is. Then solid discs front and rear. Gonna change that up again. No under tray, plenty of airflow. Best interior possible. Hydro pneumatic springs. And we got a 42.2 drivability stat on a 5.5 liter V12 river drive saloon that has 185mm rear tires. Yeah. Let's see how this thing goes. Doesn't feel all that fast. Yeah, it doesn't feel all that fast after all. Even with the 300 horsepower V12. Well, I don't know. In any case, we have one more car to look at here. That is the SM3, which will also come with the 4 liter with a 4 liter Rhodos V8 with a flat plane V8, but it will have a slightly detuned version with 225 horsepower rather than 250, a more flat torque curve for better drivability, more accessibility and whatnot, slightly better reliability because it is now 1970 rather than 69. And also possibly better fuel economy than the other tuning. I don't know. Certainly, of course, this has better economy than the SL2. And as far as looks go, I actually replaced the dual round headlights with one rectangular one and an indicator right on the side. Then some vents underneath that arrangement. And on the rear, I've just put the indicators into the taillights and then added some chromed vents where the indicators used to be. And that's pretty much all I changed about the looks, and I think it now looks more 1970s-ish. 1970s European car, perhaps. So overall, of course, we also have a 3-speed automatic here with lots of wheel spin. Lots of wheel spin. And 175s on the rear end, 165s up front. We do have 2 pistons front and 1 piston rear on this one already. Don't need to change that. Cooling airflow is more than enough. Then we have 4 seats, because like I can't really imagine 5 seats sitting in this car. I can't imagine there being 3 people on the on the rear sitting next to each other in comfort in such a small car. No, it just wouldn't work. Of course, the best entertainment possible, which for 1970 is a luxury 8-track. This package is the absolute pinnacle of in-car entertainment of the 1970s and is intended for use in high-end luxury cars. It consists of a high-quality dual-speaker stereo AM/FM radio and a stereo 8-track player. Wow, amazing! that's what you'd say today, right? But for 1970, this really was amazing to have in a car. We have progressive springs on this one because I don't think it needs hydro-pneumatic springs. How much would that change even? Yeah, it would add a lot of comfort, but it would also not add quite a lot of cost. Let's see, $24,830. That's, I think, less than $3,000 for 1970, or roughly there, roughly at $3,000. And does 8.1 seconds 0 to 100. 221 top speed, which is pretty damn solid for the time. Does the quarter mile in roughly 16 seconds. Reaches 150 kilometers an hour there. That's pretty good. And then there's the SM3 40 Voyage as well, of course. That's the estate version of this thing. Obviously same stuff here. Indicators in the taillights. New headlights here with indicators on the side. This almost looks Mercedes-ish, doesn't it? And yeah, with this one we get a better acceleration because of better weight distribution. And drivability is just as good, but of course this has more practicality, so it scores better in like utility sport premium, family sport premium, categories where the practicality matters. And overall, yeah, I think this would do pretty well on the European market as well, because again, that's what it's designed for. I mean, if an American wanted it and ordered it, of course we wouldn't deny them the car. But I guess this is going to be a little bit more successful in Europe than it is going to be in America. Just because of its size, of its nature, and, basically Americans, especially back then, liked big cars with big engines. This is not a particularly big car. and the engine isn't all that big either. So, you know, before the oil crisis, it just got outperformed by a lot of other cars on the market that would cost about the same as this one. So, well, on speed anyway. As far as, you know, luxury goes, comfort, there's probably not too many cars for that price that could hold a candle to it. But that's more of a European thing anyway. And therefore, again, I think it would do better in the European market. So hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Automation. Leave a like or a comment if you did. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.